Good morning, James here from Hobson Prior. I hope you've all had a good week so far. Um, just wanted to speak today in my final sort of part of the interview preparation series. Obviously, we've run over a number of topics about how to prepare for an interview, including sort of the research you need to do, some of your motivations, and also how to answer competency-based questioning. Now, today I'm going to be talking less about how to prepare for an interview and how to conduct yourself when it comes to the end of the interview process. So, in my experience, the interview process can be like a lengthy procedure, and it's only really at the very end that things like salary and logistics are always discussed between yourself and the human resources department. Depending on whether or not you are applying directly or going via a recruiter, these conversations may or may not have been more frequent, and there may have been more communication between the company and yourself regarding this. So one thing I would always say is if you are going via an agency, make sure you speak very clearly to your recruiter at the start of the process about your actual expectations, both in terms of home working, salary, and availability, because they will be letting the client know all of these things and aligning with the client to make sure that they can offer you these things. If at the end of the process your expectations have changed, then that will lead to a bit of conflict at the end of the process and perhaps create a negative atmosphere, which can then lead into the work place when you begin the position. Um, so I would always say like, setting out your stall very early on, ensuring that the recruiter knows how much you need to be able to accept the position and working with them to get that best offer. If you are applying directly, quite often the salary is not something which is discussed up front with the company. Can often lead to a mismatch in expectations at the end of the process. So my advice would be to, if there are conversations with human resources early on, making sure that you make it very clear what your expectations are at the very beginning of the process with that human resources department. I'd say that it's not advisable to be discussing salary with your line manager during the early stage of the process, at least, because it can create a kind of haggling situation where your candidacy is less focused on really what you want to be doing is performing the best you can in the interview and building that rapport with the hiring manager so you have the best chance of getting the position. Now, if the salary negotiation comes down at the end of the process, I would definitely keep in mind having, two figures for yourself. So one is your walk away point, the salary you need to be able to cover your expenses and maintain the quality of life that you wish to have. Um, that will vary from situation to situation. But if you really, really want the position and it's something you're looking forward to working within, then that should be your walk away point, as opposed to having to really aim for that increase. Because there are positions where the job is good, the increase isn't there, but it's something you were really motivated by. I would also have in mind your ideal salary. Obviously, we all want to try and increase our earnings as much as possible. So having that salary in mind of not something unrealistic and a 20%, a 25% increase, but perhaps something fairly reasonable that is going to give you just that little bit extra every month to enjoy some of the finer things in life. Industry standard increases from position to position are 15%. So I would be aiming for something in that sort of 10 to 15% bracket as your ideal increase between roles. There can be additional factors such as changing location and also changing the amount of home working you're going to be doing. So I would also factor in things like additional expenses for travel and also relocation expenses and cost of living in the new location when working out your salary expectations, because that will have an impact. But overall, my advice would be to everyone in the final stages of an interview process: trust your recruiter. When it comes to those negotiations, they will be very transparent with your end client as to what your expectations are and trying to be getting you the best deal. So be very clear about what your bottom line is, but also what your ideal salary is, because they will be pushing for your ideal salary. And also, when you get through to that end of process with a direct application, again, setting up your stall, telling your client what the ideal salary is, and waiting for them to make an offer. Only at that point do you need to um, go back and look at your bottom line salary if the offer is lower than your ideal. Hopefully, this is useful when it comes to the end of the process negotiations, and hopefully, the series on interview preparation has also been useful for you. If you have any questions, you ever want to reach out to me for any part of preparing for an interview, or even when it comes to a negotiation at the end of the process, just to lean on me for my advice. Obviously, I have been working in the DAC region for recruitment for 10 years now, so I have a very good understanding of what salary levels should be. People reach out to me frequently to be asking what they should be getting for their next job as a salary. So, yeah, feel free to get out and come in contact with me for any information that would be helpful in this process. Good luck with any interviews that people have ongoing, and we'll hopefully speak soon. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.